Barry Grint. I'm a co-owner and mastering engineer at Alchemy Mastering. I've been in the business for a little over 30 years. Started out at Trident Studios in Soho, but I've also worked at Tape One and Abbey Road before starting Alchemy. I think the main change is that we've now got PCs, which we didn't have when I started. Everything was on reel-to-reel, and then digital happened with DATs and all of those other different formats. But now I think the biggest change is the fact that a lot of the stuff isn't done real-time anymore. I think that what's different is that the mastering engineer for the first time was starting to have to enter in the track titles and identify the starts and the ends of the tracks and the artist and the title of the album and all of this sort of information. And now that's becoming even more. There's more information that the mastering engineer has to put in. One of the best things that's happened fairly recently is the resurgence in vinyl, and the idea that you can go out, you can buy the record, and you also get the download as well. So that I really think does give the best of both worlds. There's nothing like getting an album with a gatefold sleeve, and I mean, Led Zeppelin Physical Graffiti is best bit of packaging that you've ever seen in your life. The sort of New York tenement building, and you're pulling out bits here, there and everywhere. And if you can have that experience, and then also for the convenience you can download and put it on your portable device to listen to, then I think that really does give somebody the best of both worlds. Sometimes you get a version of a track and it would be the explicit version when it should be the clean version. Now it's very difficult, other than listening to it obviously, to know which version you're supposed to get. And quite often all we get to start with is a running order. So if I'm looking at the running order and it's saying this artist, this title, this duration, and I've got something that is that artist, it is that title, and it is that duration, there's nothing telling me that it should be one or other version of it. But if at the early stage the ISRC is included, then the clean version and the explicit version have different ISRCs. So I can look at the ISRC when it's embedded in a WAV, and I can look at it on the running order and know that I've been given the right version for the project that I'm working on. Once you have the ISRC embedded within the WAV file, it can be used in lots of other ways, because you've absolutely identified that particular file. You've identified that version of a track. So you can have a database made up that does have all the information about who's performed on it and who the composers are and that sort of thing. Publishers can create their own database. Record companies can have their version of a database. I don't think that there'd be one database that covers all bases, but it does at least provide the keystone information for everything else to be worked from. And with the credit where credit's due aspect, it's great to be able to put together a database of who's performed on a track, but wouldn't it be much easier if you could just click on a piece of information that's embedded within the track and be taken to that right page where that information is listed? And I think that is one of the best things that's going to come out of this initiative. Well, when I had the idea, I spoke to the European Broadcasting Union, because they manage the standard for broadcast WAVs. They just got it straight away and could see the relevance of it, and really, really quickly incorporated it within the standard. The downside for mastering engineers is that they will have to pay for a software update, but it's just one of those things that it is the right thing to do. It's what's been missing, and I think that once we mastering community are in place and it does become the standard for use in production, then digital aggregators like iTunes, for example, will change their encoding software to automatically carry the ISRC through into the encoded file. At the moment, the encoded file has to have the ISRC re-entered manually. So this is going to cut down multiple keying of the same information. It'll improve accuracy, and ultimately it will mean that the artists, the performers, the record label will all get paid properly for the work that's been sold. And if record companies are making more money, they'll release more product, and that's the upside for the mastering engineer. I think for record companies, it's a no-brainer. I've been to see the BPI, I've been to see AIM, and as soon as we say, yep, mastering engineers are ready for this, they're going to recommend to their membership that they adopt this as a standard. I have thought and haven't found any downside to this. But it's also important to know that this isn't some kind of money generating scheme for mastering engineers. And I think that in the pretty short term, there will be software that becomes available that record companies can download for free that will enable them to put an ISRC into a file at a later date, or to change it if it needs be. So it's really just about identifying the file and about it being a good idea. And I think the main thing is, whether you're a mastering engineer, recording engineer, producer, working on a label, is to just get behind this as a concept and start asking for it.